Okay, so here's a real live sketchbook, and this one I bought at a garage sale. It's Take Me Along Sketch Trip Diary. Wow, that's a great name. Wish I'd thought of that. And some guy put these stickers on it. Carl Siri, From Friends and Other Strange Peoples, 1978. I don't know what he was going to do with it, but I use it as a real sketchbook. And I take this to figure drawing with me, and just real quick sketches. I don't know if I'll ever do anything with these or what. It's typically just warm up. And most artists have a lot of sketchbooks, or typically it's newsprint pads, because we're working fast, we're just warming up. You never really anticipate making something great. Unfortunately, when you do, it's on this crappy paper. And this is way too big for us, I would say, but that's just me, you know. You look at that. Here's a really pretty little book. I think I found these at Hobby Lobby. I have a few different kinds. They're sort of decorated with sari fabric. This is pretty. And this is a nice little size. The paper's pretty thin, but don't let that stop you. You can use it as is. You can glue it, tape it, build it up with collage. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can, take out pages to make more room, but this is kind of a nice size, maybe too small. But like I said, let's have a few, different sizes, from the medium range, which is maybe this size, to a smaller one. This was sort of a weird thing. I guess I was making an artist book or something, and I had this idea. I had, actually they were very good pen and ink sketches, if I do say so myself, and in a drawing pad, and the paper was pretty good. And I had an idea to make, I don't know, a blank book or a sketchbook, and I took those sketches and I folded them all in half. They were about this long. Folded them all in half. And then I made these covers, and I wanted Kinko's or whoever to bind it with the fold on the outside, the open page at the binding, which they did not, and kind of ruined the whole thing. So the fold is in this here, so it opens weird. And I just put them back together randomly, so each one, well, this, this should be closed, so the fold is here. So that each, I was thinking it would be like a blank page, and I would use it, or somebody else would use it. I don't know what I was thinking. But it would have been cool, but they really messed it up, and I'm bummed out about that. But so you could make your own book, too, and have them bind it, or if you have a Zutter machine, you can certainly bind it yourself. This is cool. This is a little leather thing, and it says valuable papers on it, and it has a zipper. And so when we're thinking of our journal mobile unit, I mean, something like this would be really cool. You've got, you could sew folded paper inside here and then add a few pens. What was inside here, and I guess I was using this, I use this as a proposal. I must have given this to somebody that I wanted to do a book show. And so it has these plastic pages that come out, and then you can, put things in them, which I did. I got my resume in here, my proposal for the workshop. But you could do this with regular paper too. I mean, or even making plastic sleeves for yourself in case you're journaling in the rain. Maybe that's the kind of work you do. You gotta be an all-weathers kind of sketcher, journaler, field note reporter. That'd be cool. So here is my journal that I had in Greece, and this is an atlas. I guess I was thinking before about like a giant atlas, and it has this beautiful leather tooled cover. You can see where it's coming apart. It's got weird, I don't know, lamb's wool in here or something. I'll have to fix that. And even though I took pages out, it's never enough. And you can see the bindings breaking. It's so fragile. And I took this book. I've come back since and worked in it. I don't even know if you can see it. It's a pretty cool book. But I just took it the map pages, let's see if I can find some, probably not, like this. And we went there together just like this. And it was very frustrating to try to make sketches or take notes over all this map stuff. It was too competitive. So I have, let's see where I started here. The first thing I did in this book on the trip, and I did work right over this map, was I went in the bathroom on the ferry from Athens to Mykonos and did this portrait in the bathroom, and then kind of did some whiteout where I couldn't see my lines and I couldn't see what I was doing, and then painted this background. And that seemed to work. But when I was on site, I couldn't really do that. I was in too much of a hurry. I didn't have time to paint things out. So this book was pretty unsuccessful for me. And then towards the end, one day either before we went out or somehow on the way, what I did was I prepped it beforehand. And I'm not a prepper. I don't work that way. I don't like to work that way. I like to just get out there, do it, see what I'm inspired to do, respond to that, do that. I don't watercolor my pages beforehand. I don't paint them. I don't do any of that. However, in this workshop, we will be doing some of that based on my experience in Greece. So what I did, and I really enjoy doing this, is I taped all of my pages with masking tape. And so it had a nice texture, but I could still see some of the outline of the map underneath, which is how I created this shape back here, which to me was like the night sky. So it was like the water was the night. It was like the reverse of the water to the land. Greece is mostly water. So that was really fun. And then I used some stamps from Echoes de Voyages and then redrew them. I had a lot of Greece stamps there that we bought and drew and took notes and did some writing, and all of this I did there. And I was so happy to finally be able to work on my pages, and I couldn't really prior to that. So it was a real bummer. And then I did another one that was sort of the reverse, and I prepped it with dark tape. I wanted to see what that would do, and then left some of the maps and redrew that. So you can incorporate certain things, and it'll be fun to alter a book for this too. This is a cool travel book. I really like it. I never finished it. I would like to do that. So when I went to Egypt, now I've got that experience, and I know that I need to do some prep work before I go out in the field. This book was a phone book that my mother bought for my grandma from like the 1977-78 King Tut exhibit in Chicago, which when it came, it was the biggest thing ever. And my mom actually performed for it. She was in a belly dance troupe, a Middle Eastern group, and they performed for the opening of King Tut, which is cool. So I used my grandma's phone book, and I've showed this before. And I did prep. I started some stuff before because we also started a blog, so I had to make some images in here. But I started with my taping. I like to do that. Here's some tape background so that when I was at the museum, I drew this right there. Can you see it? And was able to take notes in ways that, you know, felt positive and good and successful to me. That's really important. It's not so much about necessarily making something good, but feeling successful, like you can get it down so that you can rework it later. And I don't have too much in here that I could show about prepping the pages and then reworking them. That's okay. And Egypt journal with prepped pages. I had another sketchbook that was my mom's from art school that I wanted to share with you guys, but I haven't been able to find it. So when we're trying to choose a book, the main thing the main thing, is going to be size and just, are you drawn to it? Let it pick you. There's not going to be any perfect book like, oh, this kind of paper. And that's why maybe like the book that Tracy made for me, having various textures and different papers inside might be the best thing in terms of field notes being an experiment, because then you can decide, love this kind of paper, hate this doesn't work, this does work, so that you can fine tune and hone your field trips journal, so that it keeps evolving. It keeps evolving. This is not just something we're going to do this summer. This is something you're going to do for the rest of your life, because it's endless. Thanks for joining me in my enchanted studio here in Albuquerque as I shared with you some of my favorite sketchbooks and journals and how I like to work in them and how they've guided me to discover myself. So now it's time for you to discover your journal and discover your own self too. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to get to work. See you soon.